Hello students, in the previous lecture we have studied how to insert an image in HTML. We have seen image mapping in HTML. There were two different types of image mapping. The first one was the client side image mapping and second is server side image mapping. But for y'all, this year you have to study only the client side image mapping. So we have seen in the last lecture how to insert an image on clients by using client side image map. So the tag which was used was img tag. In the img tag we used to use the useMap attribute in img tag. Then next second tag was the map tag. Okay, map tag was having only one attribute. That attribute was name. The name was given in the map tag, which was the name assigned to your useMap attribute. Okay, and the third tag was the area tag. The area tag was used to specify the different types of shape in an different types of attributes were used in your area tag, such as href tag was used, chords was used. Then you have seen what is the shape and what are chords. These were the different attributes in client side image map under area tag. So now in today's lecture we will see inline frames in HTML5. How to create an inline frame in HTML5. Okay. So now basically what is the use of inline frame? Mostly inline frame is nothing but to divide your browser. What is frame? Frame is nothing but it is used to divide your browser into small different sections. Okay, it means on one screen you can share number of different browser by creating frames. Each frame consists of a browser. For example, if I have created my 3 frames, then whatever the screen of my computer is, that screen will be divided into 3 parts and each one part will have this separate web page. Okay. So now for y'all, this year you have only to study about inline frames. There are a number of different types of frames, but this year you have to study what is inline frame. Then mostly inline frame is used in online advertisement. Okay, online advertisement of any party is done by using the inline frame. The tag which is used to define the inline frame is the iframe tag. You all can see the iframe tag is used to define any inline frame. Okay, now what is the use of this? Mostly it is used for creating the advertisement online. Okay, then there are the different attributes which are supported to your iframe. Remember, each tag has an attribute. Okay, so now what is that? What are the attributes of iframe tag? The first attribute of iframe tag is src. Okay, what is the first attribute of your iframe tag? It is src. SRC, what is the use of this SRC? This SRC is used to specify the address of your document which you are embedding in your iframe. Okay, iframe में आप जो document insert करना चाहते हो उसकी जो address specification रहेगा वो आप कहाँ पे करोगे? SRC attribute में. Sorry. The second attribute is height. हाइट क्या किस में राइट की जाती है? लास्ट लेक्चर में हमने देखा है हाइट, जब हमने इमेज के एट्रीब्यूट्स में हमने देखा था व्हाट इज द हाइट, हाउ हैव वी स्पेसिफाई द हाइट. जो भी हाइट रहेगी हमेशा हाइट हम किस में देते हैं? पिक्सल में. सो व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ हाइट एट्रीब्यूट इन आई फ्रेम? कि जो भी आपकी फ्रेम रहेगी उसकी हाइट आपको कितनी चाहिए वो स्पेसिफाई करनी होगी. तो वो कौन सा एट्रीब्यूट से आप स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हो? हाइट एट्रीब्यूट से. The next attribute is the width. Okay, again the size of the width attribute given is in terms of pixel. Okay, so width is used to specify the width of your iframe. The next is the name. The name attribute. What is the use of the name attribute? The use of name attribute is just to specify the name of your iframe. What is the name of your iframe? That is specified by using the attribute name. Okay, so name is the attribute which is used to specify the name of your iframe tag. The next attribute is srcdoc. This is used to specify the HTML content to the page which is shown in your iframe. Okay, the content of your HTML page which is shown on your iframe is shown by the attribute srcdoc. Okay, so what is the use of srcdoc? You have understood. Source document. What is the source document? That is your HTML document which you have to show in your iframe. That is defined by this attribute. The next is, here is the small example of your iframe. So which were the different attributes of iframe tag? First, source, which is used to specify the source address that is embedded into your iframe tag. Second is the height. If you want to, what is the height of your iframe? That is specified by using height attribute. Whereas to specify the width of your attribute, then the attribute uses width. The name attribute is used to specify the name of your iframe. If you want to specify the name for your iframe, that is specified by using the name attribute. The next attribute is srcdoc. This is used to specify the HTML content, or whatever the HTML content of your page. If you want to show it on your iframe, then that is done by using srcdoc. So here is a small example of that. You all can see. Again, inline frame I have written. This is generally normal frame. We was not using the body tag. Body tag was not used to define the normal frame. Instead of body tag, frame set tag was used to define a frame. But since we are studying an inline frame, that inline frame is written under the tag body. Okay, so here I have used again my HTML tag. Head tag is not used, as I don't want, as we have not given any heading or any name to our browser to identify this program. Inside body, I have used my heading tag. Now, which is the heading tag which I have used under my body tag? It is the H2 tag. You all can see H2 HTML iframe. What is the heading assigned? HTML iframe. After the heading is completed, my H2 tag is closed. Okay. Next is a paragraph. I have written a paragraph tag. In that I have written a paragraph that this is an example of iframe. What paragraph I have written? That I have written the example of iframe, and the paragraph tag is completed. Now next, as I have wanted to insert an inline frame, I have written their iframe tag. Okay. By using this tag, the browser is getting an intimation that I am creating an inline frame. So what are the different attributes I have used? That is source. Now what is the source? Source, I have given a file which I have to display in my inline tag. Okay, which is the file xyz.html. So whatever the content is stored in your xyz.html file, that content will be displayed in your iframe tag. Okay, what will be the height of that frame? The height of that frame will be 200 and the width will be 300. So these are the three different attributes which I have used in my iframe tag. Okay. As soon as my tag is completed, I have closed my iframe tag by using \iframe. Data is completed, whole program is completed. So my body tag gets closed and my HTML tag gets closed. Okay. So here is the output of that above example. You all can see this is my heading and this is my paragraph. Okay, it is in separate window. You all can see here it is divided, and you have got a next second part. You all can see there is this page is displayed in an iframe. Now this is which frame? This is the code, or this is the output of your xyz.html. Whatever the content was written in that file, that is displayed over here, which has the height of about 200 and width is 300. Okay, so this is an example of iframe. Have you all got it? What is iframe? Let's move forward. Now next, moving forward, now you all have seen this here in this chapter different ways to create the website. Okay, different types of tags, different types of attributes which are supported to a particular tag. What is the use of different tags and what are the use of different attributes? This is only not sufficient. Once you have created a website, it is necessary that you have to make it available. That website you have to make it available on the internet. Okay, that means the whatever the web pages are created by us, that must be stored on a web server so that it will be available to other users to use that site. Okay, so it is necessary to host your website. Now what is hosting of website, we'll see in this point. Okay, so what is actually web hosting? Web hosting is nothing but it is a service, or it is a type of service which is provided in storage space, which make us or which make everyone on this website is made available on the internet, so that with the help of web hosting, different users can access the information from that. So what is web hosting? Web hosting is nothing but it is a service in which they provide us a storage space with whatever the website we have developed, that is made available on the internet with the help of web hosting. Now what is host? Now hosts are nothing but the different types of companies that provide us the web hosting services are called as web host. Okay, there are different companies which provide us the services of hosting a website on the internet. They are called as web host. Okay, they are the person who manage the web servers, and whatever there is interruption between the internet connectivity is solved by this host persons. So what is web host? Have you all got it? So web hosts are the companies that provide us the services. They are called as web host. This web host can manage their own web server. Okay, and any type of uninterrupted internet connectivity services are offered by this type of web host. Okay, so there are different types of web hosting. Okay, the first type of web hosting is the shared hosting. Now what is shared hosting? The shared hosting is nothing but giving a domain name to your website is called as shared hosting. This type of hosting is cost effective. Okay, shared name, if you all want to assign or you have to give a domain name to your website, in that case you will use the shared hosting. Okay, whereas free hosting is what? Free hosting is the type of hosting in which you host your website, which is available for a limited period of time. If you want to launch or host your website for a limited period of time, okay, for hosting of website for limited period of time is called as free hosting. Okay, what is free hosting and what is shared hosting? Have you all got it? Free hosting means hosting of your website for a limited period of time is free hosting, whereas giving a domain name to your website is nothing but it is a shared hosting. Okay, in this way we have completed our first chapter, that is advanced web designing. Okay, so just go through all the lectures and revise. If you all have textbook, please go and refer to your textbook. At the end of the chapter you will find the exercise. Just go through the exercise and solve the different objectives given over there. As you all must be familiar with the pattern of our examination that you have in examination. Question number 1 as fill in the blanks. Then next question is for true or false. Next question is for single correct answer. Then is for 2 correct answer and 3 correct answer. Next you have rearranged the following. Okay, so for that purpose you all have to go through this chapter. There were different types of tags, different types of attributes used in this chapter. We will have a quick revision on this summary of this chapter, but you all everyone, it's a request that solve the exercise. There are some programs given in the exercise. even try to solve this programs which are given in the textbook. Okay, now we will have a short summary of the first chapter. Overall, we will see. Here you can see I have taken only just the description and the content which we have seen in this chapter. The first content which we have seen in this chapter is forms in HTML. The tag which we have seen in forms in HTML was the input tag. The input tag was containing different number of elements. Each input type input has an attribute type. That type has containing number of different values. We have seen input type is equal to color, so that color will be assigned for that. If I have taken image, then how to insert an image. If I want an email, or I want to find a particular range of numbers. If I want a particular file from a group of files, if I want to search a particular file in which at what time I have saved my data, if I want that. So there were different elements which were used and with your input tag, like input type is equal to color for color. If you want whatever was the date, then you used to write input type is equal to date. If you want to find or search a particular word, then input type is equal to search. These were the different elements. The next we have seen some restrictions on a input tag. There were some restrictions which were used on an input tag, like that field must be auto completed, what will be the height, what will be the width, placeholder, whether we want it to be disabled, what will be the maximum value of that field, minimum value, it is only for read purpose. So what is the autofocus? These were the some of the restrictions that was used in a input tag. So this was the first point we have covered. The next was the CSS. The most important point in first chapter was CSS. So what is the different types of CSS? We have seen there are three types of CSS: internal CSS, inline CSS and external CSS. There are three types of CSS. Remember the three types of CSS. Next we have seen the different types of CSS properties. So which were the different types of CSS properties? Like background color, setting the background color, setting the font family, setting the text decoration property, how to set an background image, how to give background color, how to assign a border, how to keep the letter space between two. Okay, so these were the different properties which we have seen under CSS. Okay, what was the syntax of CSS? Selector, curly bracket, property, colon, value. Okay, number of properties can be assigned to a particular selector. The two properties were differentiated by using semicolon. Okay, remember. The next we have seen what was the class ID selector, what was class selector, what is universal selector. Okay, so we have seen CSS ID selector. The CSS ID selector, which symbol was used to specify the ID selector? Hash was the symbol which was used to specify the ID selector. For class selector, dot was used. Dot means period was used to define the class selector. Then what was the universal selector? What were group selector? The different types of positioning in CSS. We have seen what is absolute positioning, what is relative positioning, what is fixed positioning in CSS. Next we have seen the float properties in CSS. Which were the different float properties in CSS? What was the use of that properties in CSS? This all we have seen in the float property. The next was the display property. How to display the particular output of CSS. The different properties which were related to that we have seen in display property. The next point which was in the first chapter we have seen, that was meta tag. So what was the meta tag? What is the use of the meta tag? Meta tag was nothing but it was used to search a specific information from the web page. Which tag was used to describe that? Meta tag was used. There were different attributes which we have seen in the meta tag, that was name, contain, char set. These were the different attributes which were used in your meta tag. Whatever the content was written in the meta tag was not displayed on our output. Okay, so meta tag is used just to write a information, but that information was not displayed on your browser. The next we have seen web hosting. What was web hosting? What is web hosting? That whenever we have created any website, it is necessary that website should be available on the internet for other user to access it. Whatever the web pages user have created, that you have to store on your web server. Then for that you used to provide there is a service which provides us the storage space. That service provider is called as web hosting. There were different types of web hosting which we have seen. That there were two types which we have seen, that was shared hosting and free hosting. Okay, for shared hosting, what was that? If you want to assign a domain name to your website, that was done in shared hosting. Whereas in free hosting, what was done? For a limited period of time, if you want to make your website available to others, that can be done in free hosting. Okay. The next what we have seen was the inline frame in HTML5. How to create an inline frame, which tag was used to create inline frame, which were the different attributes that were used in inline frame. So what was the use of inline frame? Inline frame was used to create online advertisement. Okay, mostly what was the use of inline frame? Inline frame was used to create online advertisement. The different attributes which were supported by your inline frame were src, height, width, name, src, doc. Okay, in src what you are doing, you are specifying the address that address of that file which you want to display on your inline frame. Okay, then what will be the height of that frame was defined by the height tag. What will be the width was defined by the width attribute. Okay, the next which we have seen is the image map. Okay, the next which we have seen is the image map. So what was the use of image mapping in HTML? So in image mapping, we have seen about client side image mapping. Okay, in client side image mapping, we use three different tags. First was the img tag, which was used to insert an image on your web page. Okay, so which tag was used to insert an image on your web page? The img tag. Okay, then useMap attribute was used as an pointer in your img map tag. Okay, the second tag was the map tag. What was the use of map tag, which contains only one attribute? That attribute was the name attribute. The third tag which was used was the area tag. Area tag was used to specify the clickable regions in your particular image. Okay, that was called as hotspot. Okay, it consists of different attributes. The first attribute which we have seen in that was href, where we used to provide the link of the page. Okay, the second was the shape. We have seen in client side image mapping, there are three different types of shape which was used. The first was for rectangle, rect was used; for circle, circle; and for polygon, what you used to use? Poly. Compulsory, the shape was assigned with the attribute coordinates. What are the coordinates required for a specific shape was given in the attribute cos. Okay, and alt was the alternate name given to your that particular tag image. Okay, the next was how to insert an audio and video in your web page. So to insert an audio in your web page, audio tag was used. The different attributes which were supported by your audio tag were src, the source of the audio, which audio you want to play, that was mentioned in the attribute src. Then next was autoplay. Autoplay means as soon as your song has been or your audio has been displayed, it will start to play automatically. User does not have to start it. Okay. The next was control. In that, the audio was provided with the control of play and pause. Okay. The next was loop. Now loop, what was the use of loop? How many number of times you want to play the same audio was given in loop. If you mention loop value as 2, then that audio will be played twice. Okay. The next was the source tag. If you want to mention the multiple media sources, at that time the tag used was source in audio. Okay. The next we have seen how to insert an video. For inserting an video, the tag used was the video tag. So the video tag was used to embed or to add a video on your web page. Again, there were different attributes like SRC, same as embed. Whatever is the video you have to display, the path of that video was given in SRC. Second was the autoplay. In autoplay, as soon as the video is been downloaded or video has been displayed, then it will run automatically. Controls, again the video was provided with the control of play and stop as in audio. Loop, same. If number of times you have to play the same video, then loop attribute was used. Width and height was used to assign the height and width of your video. The next tag which we have seen was the unordered list tag. The unordered list tag is also called as bullet list tag. Okay. The tag used was the UL tag. UL tag was the tag used to define the unordered list. Okay. The attribute of the UL tag was type. Okay. In type, you have to give the type. There were different values for that type. By default, the unordered list has disk, that is black circle. Other than that, you can give circle and square or none. Okay. So these were the 4 different values assigned to your bullet list. The next was how to create a order list. For creating an order list, OL tag was used. Okay. The different attributes were type. By default, the type, if you don't mention the attribute type to your OL list, by default it was numbers 1, 2, 3 and so on. The different values of your type was Roman number, normal numbers, capital A, small a. Okay. So these were the 4 types. After that, there was a next attribute, that was start. If you want to start your order from a specific number, let's say I want it from 51. So I can mention in my OL tag start is equal to 51. Means the value will start in a sequence from 51. So these were the attribute used in your OL tag. Okay. For creating order and unordered list, li tag was used to create the list of item. Okay. Under a particular tag, if you want to create a list, that list was created by using li tag. Okay. So this was about the order and unordered list. These are all the different concepts which we have seen in chapter 1. So go through this all the concepts and solve the exercise from the textbook. From in the next lecture, we will start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 2, digital. What is the next chapter? We will be going to study in the next chapter. In the next lecture is digital marketing. Thank you.